says I'm live.
Now we're live.
Okay, did you text Tori?
Yep.
Good. Got a whole six-pack over here. Before I go and get more beer for football. Sunday. Football. Words, I don't know.
Go, Pack, go.
Where are they from?
The Green Bay Packers, boys.
The Green Bay Packers. Sons of bitches. Bet your ass I got his rookie card. I didn't say a name, Evan. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter who it is. He's got his rookie card.
It don't fucking matter. It's like fucking Rain Man, but with football cards. I don't have a beard anymore. Let's address that. I don't have a chin either. And a really round face, apparently. I'm just looking at my own reflection and not enjoying any of it. Also, keeping the Trent MJF shirt. Still not the same wrestling shirt.
That's fine. I'll forgive you for not wearing any of the ones that I bought you.
Didn't I just wear them like yesterday?
Yeah, but not on the podcast.
I'm sorry. So today's episode, we decided not to write anything down at all.
No.
Because we're pretty sure I have a hernia again. And I didn't feel like doing this yesterday because it hurt.
He says that, but every other minute we flip-flop on what it is. So we don't know. We're not sure about anything.
I don't know. If I went to the doctor, I bet we'd know, but I won't. I just keep, putting it off. Because that's what smart people do. If I pretend that it doesn't hurt, then I'm fine.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah. See, I'm good. So today we thought we'd do something a little different. Like last week, how we completely flipped the script, bent you over, and took you to Pound Town. We're going to do it again. And this week's all ghost stories. We both have ghost stories. Some people believe, some people don't. Those people that don't believe are fucking stupid.
Because as of September 22nd, it's officially fall. It's my favorite season. What? It's spooky season.
Can you believe I have to fucking deal with this all the time?
You love me.
Yep. So I don't know. I thought we'd talk about maybe like a year ago, Cass's mom passed away, and we started having weird shit happen in our apartment.
December of last year, she passed away.
Like 11 months. 9, 10. I don't know what the fucking date is. It was a while ago.
9 months, yeah.
And we started having weird shit happen in the apartment. Like a door would shut when we're both in the living room. And yeah, we had a toddler at the time. But I mean, if he's in eyesight nowhere near that fucking door, what was that?
Yeah.
I don't know. What else happened, really? I know at your dad's that weekend of like the funeral and everything, didn't something get thrown like when we were sleeping in their room?
Yeah, we slept in my parents' bed because it was me and Tyler and then Marcus. And so my dad gave up his bed for the night. And I remember when they were already asleep, I think, I just remember thinking like, Mom, if you're here, like just give me a sign or whatever. And across the room, something fell off of her dresser, I think. And, like, I thought it was the cat because my dad has a cat named Stella. But nope, she wasn't even in the room. Because I remember distinctly getting up later that night to go to the bathroom and opening the door. And Stella was sitting there out in the hallway. And the door was closed. So, like, she wasn't able to go, like, in and out of the room. So.
Yeah. So that's what kind of started the whole thing that was like started happening in our apartment. And I've had experiences before, like a lot, but it was it's a little different. I know one day you were in the kitchen cooking. I was in the living room watching wrestling because I'm an adult. And we didn't have Marcus. It was just me and you there. And I was yelling for you to come out and see something that was going on with the match or whatever.
Yeah.
And you came out, and as you came out and stopped and like looked at me, the picture that was on our wall, like behind you, flew off the fucking wall.
And it wasn't directly behind me either. Like, I wasn't actually near it, like, at all, because I remember I was on one side of the room, and it was on, like, I had this, like, collage picture frame thing, the thing that you can, like, hang a bunch of pictures on, and that picture was on the top of it. And, yeah, it just, like, flew as I was standing there.
Yeah, and we were kind of like, well, that was
weird.
That's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then wasn't it the same night later on your string lights that you had? Didn't the thing like just fucking sway like itself?
Yeah, because I had propped like the end of the string lights where the plug-in is, like onto one of my pictures, like hooked it around the frame just so Marcus wouldn't be able to reach up and grab it.
That's what it was.
It like just flew like off the frame, like as if
and that
someone
would take
walked by.
Force to unhook it and throw it. Yeah,
as if someone walked by and like hit it off or something like that. It was weird.
Yeah, so it took until like all this stuff started happening that we started like really talking about like, oh, you have prior ghost stories before this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do I. And I don't know, a year later, we've told each other pretty much every ghost story that the other has. And this episode's not going to be funny.
Nope.
So you go first.
Oh, man, me?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my ghost stories I have is this was after my grandma passed away. She passed away in September of 99, so right before I turned 4. I remember this was at the second house we had lived in Eau Claire. My family moved like 8 times when I lived in Eau Claire from when I was 3 to 18. So that was when I moved out for college. Anyway, so this was the second house we lived in. It was a duplex, split level, and I remember me and my mom were home alone one day, and we were downstairs because that's where like my bedroom was and my brother's bedroom were, and we went
what?
My brother's bedrooms and
my brother's bedroom.
You heard it.
I'm just trying to follow along.
God, you're mean.
I lied. I'm gonna try and make this as funny as I can.
Okay, let me live my life. Anyway, It's vodka and Monster, okay, and it's like the Whitney drinking. Vodka, so it's like flavored, probably not as much alcohol in it, but still, I'm a lightweight. Leave me alone. Anyway, so we were downstairs. I don't remember what we were doing, but then we went upstairs, and in our living room, we had a recliner that would rock. And I remember looking across the living room, and the recliner was slowly rocking as if someone was either sitting in it or like had just gotten up from it. But it was only me and my mom home alone, and like no one had sat in the chair recently. Like my brothers and dad had all been gone like for a few hours at this point. So I remember looking at her and being like, were you sitting in the chair?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And it was just freaky because I think that was my grandma just saying hi. So like, it wasn't too scary, but it was still like eerie. Just the thought of like seeing that chair rocking with like no one on it, nothing around to make it rock. Like no windows were open. The patio door wasn't open. There was like no explanation for it to be rocking.
Is this your first ghost experience that you ever had? Is this number one?
Yeah. This is the first one I can remember because I was like 5 or 6, I think, when this happened.
Did you guys ever talk about it again?
I don't think so. I don't recall talking about it, but you know how good my memory is, so non-existent.
It doesn't.
Yep.
Okay, well, if we're gonna go off of first experiences, then at least the first one that I can remember, we were living at this house in Chippewa on Harding Street, and my parents and me were watching movies and stuff in the living room, and I must have fell asleep during the movies being on.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up at like 3 a.m., probably something like that. And I'm out there by myself, and the way that the layout was there's 2 recliners here. The couch is like back here against the bay window, and then the TV was over here. Well, when I woke up, I'm sleeping on the couch and I look and I just see like an old dude staring at me.
Freaky.
And I'm like 6, 7. And you'd think it was like a trick of the light, or you got sleep in your eyes still or whatever. But I rubbed my eyes and looked, it was still there. And I fucking got up and ran so goddamn fast to my parents' bedroom and woke them up. And, what do you think when a kid's like, ghost? Marcus is doing that right now. And I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that. We'll get to that story.
It might be. But, so fast forward, my dad had a full-size Olympic gym in our basement.
Okay, wait, but like,
house.
I need deets. Like, what did this guy look like? Was he like kind of transparent?
He's transparent. He's transparent.
Like, did you see?
I couldn't see his legs. I couldn't see his legs. I could just see like to his shoulders.
Oh, okay.
But he's wearing a hat.
Gotcha.
Like, just like, I couldn't even really tell if he had like gray hair or anything else. He looked fucking old. I don't know. We're talking fucking 22 years ago now. I can't really. It's what as much as I can remember. I know I didn't see his whole body, but I saw just somebody fucking floating in my living room staring at me.
Mm-hmm.
So shit directly in my pants, and that's where I started shitting my pants all the way until I was an adult. Still
nice.
But anyway, so my dad has this full-size gym in the basement, and he has one of those yoga balls, those big air-up yoga balls. And on the floor in the gym, my dad has those thick, like 1.5 inch rubber mats, so in case you drop the weights or whatever else, you're not going to fucking crack and wreck your floors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my bedroom was right above that the whole time I was growing up. And I would just, especially if I was home alone, I would hear that ball get fucking slammed against walls and bounce. And if you know what those balls are, they make a distinct bounce noise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's indistinguishable. You know what it is because it's like, bong, Like,
mm-hmm.
I can't make the noise with my fucking mouth. You know what the noise is. Otherwise, you don't, and fuck yourself. But you just hear that thing bouncing off shit constantly at that house. If I was home alone, and you'd go downstairs and you'd look and nothing would be moved or anything. It's like,
the hell?
At the same house too, we would there was a living room in the basement too, and that's where me and my sister would hang out. And there's a TV down there back with the tube TVs, 27 inches. We had her fucking decked. But it was so weird. You would shut this TV off, and it was not an old TV. You're like, I'm going to go upstairs now. It's getting dark outside, and I'm scared. So I would shut the TV off, and then you would walk to the hallway part, shut the light off, and if you rounded the corner, you'd be going upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And you would, I don't know how many times this happened, but you'd shut the TV off, shut the light off, and you'd get right to the stairs. And if you know anything about those tube TVs, when they turned on, they made that ting, like high-pitched noise when they turn on, and I'd wait. And all of a sudden, you'd hear static on that fucking TV. And then you're shitting your pants.
I was about to say, I would probably be myself.
Because you're like, my parents don't care what I watch, so I watch like the goriest, horrible shit, and I'm 11.
Mm-hmm.
So, you kind of peek around the corner and look, turn the light on, and go run and shut it off and shut the light off, and you get to the stairs and turn the fuck back on again.
That's when I would just be running, just fucking rip the plug right out of the outlet.
The third time that TV was unplugged, like, no more of this shit.
And then if it turns on again after that, what the fuck?
It didn't. But just shit like that, like, maybe that's ghosts, maybe that's not, maybe it's just a scared kid, but I feel like, one-offs are just that. They can be debunked. But that house, so many times, things like that would happen.
Well, was it a TV with like a remote, or was it the one with like a dial you had to physically turn?
Not a dial. It should have had a remote, but it had the buttons on the front panel too. And you had a power button, channel buttons, volume button, and then a menu button right on the front panel. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it was fairly new, especially 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a pretty decent TV.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the TVs where you can't really, it just doesn't turn on by itself like that.
No. But I don't know if I can think of any other ones that really happened at that house. Oh, yeah, no, there is one more. Like, and this isn't like it happened once. Like, 50-50 shot if I was going from downstairs to upstairs, that TV was doing that shit. That ball thing was happening all the time in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And every single room in that house but one had dimmer switches instead of like, flick switches. And with a dimmer switch, you'd have to switch it off and then it would click to be off.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd click and then you could dim it. Well, my fucking light, I would have the dimmer just barely on. And this fucking thing, especially, it's just one specific night that I can think of, but I know it would adjust itself all the time, bright, dim, when I'm trying to sleep, scared to death, have to go to school and shit the next day. This one specific night, it just fucking cranks all the way on and then all the way off, all the way on. It does it like 3 or 4 times, and then it cranks all the way off, and I hear the fucking click. And I'm in that room by myself. And I was like, Dad, you're so fucking scared you can't even yell, and you go out there and you're fucking hyperventilating. Dad, he goes, shut the fuck up and go. What are you doing? Go to bed. I'm like, I don't know. Go ahead. Like, just fuck. Do I got to get up? And you're like, I don't know. So now it's either I'm scared of the ghost or I'm gonna get my ass whooped. So it's one or the other. So what I did was I ended up laying all my blankets down in the doorway of my bedroom. So I'm in my room, but I slept on the floor in front of the fucking door in case that shit happened again.
I would have done the same.
But that's what I have for Harding Street, at least. You got to hit another one because I got some more.
Okay.
That's just for that house.
Okay.
The only one that I can think of.
I'm thinking, okay, so the next one I can think of, this is more like it could be a ghost story or it could just be me being a kid and like imagining shit.
Right.
I'm gonna tell it anyway. This was at our house. This was after the duplex I was just talking about. So we had moved out to the country and I was in like probably 4th grade now. I was in grade school, I remember, and we once again had a split level house, and this time my parents' bedroom was in the basement, and then me and my brothers had our bedrooms upstairs. And so one night, I remember every night I would fall asleep with the TV on, but like just barely like volume level, like
right.
Whispering basically. Or it'd be basically muted and it was more on for like the light in my room.
So like how you do the volume on the TV now when we're awake.
Not when we're awake, but like if we're going to bed.
We
and,
have
like,
fucking subtitles on constantly and I can't read. So half the time I don't even know what we're watching or what's going on.
Well, I try not to keep it too loud because of Cece. She's high strung. She gets startled over the smallest things. So I try to keep the TV kind of lower. But especially when we're going to bed, especially with Marcus out in the living room, I turn it down way low. But anyway, so I had the TV basically muted one night, and I remember I was trying to go to sleep, and then how my bed was, it was like kind of in the middle of the room with the headboard against the wall, and so like if I slept on one side, half the room I couldn't see, so it'd be behind my back. So anyway, I was laying toward the TV, so I think I was on my right side, and all of a sudden I hear Cassie, just like a whisper in my ear, and I was like, what the fuck? So my eyes like spring open at that point, and I'm like, what the hell? So I went next door to my brother's room because my brothers, Tyler and Cole, shared a room, asked them if they had heard it, and they didn't. And my brother Josh, his room was also in that hallway. He didn't hear it, like he didn't say anything. And so I freaking remember I like bolted down to my parents' room and was like knocking, like, Mom, Dad, like, freaking out because it was scary. Like I distinctly heard someone say my name, and it wasn't like it wasn't the TV thing because the TV was practically freaking muted. And then so like they all denied saying anything. So
I have one so similar for my next one that's creepy.
Yeah, and I also remember at that same house, I used to have like nightmares and stuff, and I'd run out to my parents' room, and they would keep the basement pitch black, obviously, because it's nighttime and everyone's sleeping. And I remember I would sit there and just, Mom, Dad, like pounding on the door, looking around. I could have sworn I saw like fucking shadows and stuff moving around in the room.
And especially when you're like scared
open the door, open the door. Like,
especially when you're scared like that and your senses are so heightened. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, so like I said, those could have just been me hearing shit, or it could have been something, but.
Yeah. Am I supposed to tell one now?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's all I have for that house that I can remember. So
after Harding Street, we had lost the house because my parents are really good with money. And we had to move to the ghetto of Pump House. It's called the Flats or Pump House or whatever. Let's just say like you can pick 5 random apartments and then have them all smile and you're still not going to get a full set of teeth. Combining those people, like, you know, it's fucking for hillbillies and meth heads, fucking goddamn rednecks. Anyway, so we moved down there, and we lived there for 4 years, and I know just random times my bed would shake.
Oof.
And not like, oh, there's a semi going by, or oh, this or oh, that. It like felt like somebody was grabbing both ends of my bed and fucking shaking it. And if I like sat up and stuff, it would stop. And that was happening for a while. It wouldn't be every night, but just randomly all of a sudden the bed would fucking shake.
You mean like up and down or side to side?
Like both, like rocket. Like,
oh, gotcha.
You know. And it's like really the only story I have for the apartment because not much happened, but that happened quite a few times. And then one specific night I'm laying in bed for school the next day, and my dad would open the bar. He was bartending for my grandma. He would open the bar in the mornings. And I thought that's what it was when I, clear as day, from the doorway heard, Tyler, are you ready? And I was like, yeah. You know, I thought maybe my dad was like, you know, fuck it. You don't have to go to school. You can just come to work with me. Because he did that all the time because he's an awesome fucking dad.
Yeah.
Like, I think he knew how pointless school was. So, so why the fuck am I going to make you go to school? Stupid. You're going to work the rest of your life anyway. Fucking, oh, you got a piece of paper? Ugh, but I'd make the same as you. Fucking idiot. I graduated, though. But I've worked with people that haven't graduated, and I make the same. So it's fucking pointless. Drop out, kids. Anyway. So I go out in the living room, and I was like, my dad was like this. On the recliner. And I was like, Dad.
To the world.
Dad, are we going? And he's like, ah! And I was like, are we going? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, well, you came in the room and you said, are you ready? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, shut the fuck up and go to bed. And I was like, and then I got really scared and I was like, Dad, I heard somebody fucking say that and he sounded like you. And my dad's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, stay out here. My dad fucking went in that room, totally believed me, and started praying. Yeah.
Oh God.
Like it got serious. He started praying and stuff. He's like, you're not sleeping in there tonight.
And your dad's not religious, like, at all. So that's crazy.
I think the part where like it was indistinguishable to my dad's voice fucking maybe triggered him to be like, oh, he's not fucking around. Plus I was crying and I was blatantly like 17. So I don't think 17-year-olds, I guess nowadays, because most of the people in this generation are fucking pussies. But no, not when I was growing up. You just fucking bury that shit and shut the fuck up. Cry in the shower. Or just don't do it. But yeah, no, I think the fact that I was, 17 and fucking I was balling, it was like, took it serious. Yeah, I didn't sleep in that room for a few nights.
I don't blame you.
But Yeah, that was the last ghost experience I really had in Pump House, but the next house is pretty bad. Lots of shit.
Just dialed shit up 100%.
Yeah, really. And it's like, especially then, just being at Pump House and then the Harding Street house, I wasn't really connecting dots. Like,
seeing
this shit's happening a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times you brush it off or you try and convince yourself that that's not what it is or whatever. But
well, and sometimes I feel like you get so used to it, you don't even notice it happening.
Yeah.
And so you just get like desensitized to it.
For sure. Your turn.
Oh man, honestly, like besides the apartment and like the house we live in now, I don't really have. Well, okay, I do have one ghost story from my friend's house, and this isn't even a house I live in. And also, I have some stories from my mom that I thought.
Yeah, the one of your moms you have to tell.
Oh, I will. I will.
Fucking good.
But on my friend's house, this is my friend Lexi. I brought her up before. This was.
Is she the smart one?
All my friends are smart. What are you talking about?
Yep.
But anyway, this was high school. This was freshman year, I think. Freshman year, sophomore year. She lived, like I said, literally like a block or two away from the school. So we'd walk over to her house a lot after school and just hang out. And I remember one day, it was me and her, and I think our friend like Gina, and I can't remember who else was there, but it was a few of us. We were all lounging in her living room, and the way her house was set up was you would walk in, and then you'd be in the living room, and then there'd be a doorway, and that would be like the kitchen on the other side of the door. And then to the right, there'd be a hallway where like her dad's bedroom was on the far right. Then the bathroom was right across from the doorway, and then her room. So like sitting on the love seat right by the door, which is where I was, you could see down the hallway to her bedroom.
Okay.
And I remember sitting there, and we're just watching cartoons or something, and her room door is closed, and I hear like a creaking noise, and all of a sudden I look over down the hall into her room, and I see her room door just slowly opening by itself. And we're like, what the fuck? And we're all just like looking at each other, and we're like, did you see that? Did you see that? And there's no one near the door. No one's in her room. Like, so yeah, that was really freaky. And we saw it like open up by itself, and we were like, hell no. But that was it. That was
Okay. Okay. After I tell this one, because this one's gonna be long, you have to tell the one about your mom.
I will, yeah.
So that one's fucking freaky.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. So before I moved to the cemetery, which was the caretaker's house in the cemetery, my best friend Marcus lived there. It's the whole reason we got the house. Was they were moving out. We wanted the fuck out of Pump House. They put in a good word for us. I'm fucking 18, just pulling strings. And I got my whole family into a fucking badass 4-bedroom house that was haunted as shit. But it wasn't even like moving into a new house for me. I had spent every weekend there for fucking like 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like I was staying at Marcus's house for a really long time, is what it felt like. But when Marcus lived there, we used to.
Did he have stories too then for that house?
I'm leading into it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
When Marcus lived there, we would go ghost hunting because that show. What's the one with the fucking Janko jeans wearing Ed Hardy?
Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, Ghost Adventures. That guy's tough. He's really tough. The fucking pussy. Oh my god. All of them on that show, especially him. I just want to put him in a rear naked show. Fuck you, Zach. Fuck you.
I was about to say I wasn't going to name names, but
if
you've seen Ghost Adventures,
I want to put him in a rear naked choke, and then I want to whisper, I'm hard, in his ear right before he goes unconscious, just so he's got even more fears. But anyway, I might have taken that too far.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I don't care. Anyway, so we used to go ghost hunting with tape recorders and through the cemetery. And I remember I was getting so pissed off because we had done this for weeks in a row and got nothing. And finally I was like, Marcus, I'm going to just start fucking yelling at these ghosts. So I started calling them fucking names like, oh, what, you two fucking big of pussies to do anything? Do something! I'm fucking yelling at them and getting into it.
Antagonizing them.
Antagonizing them. And just fucking yelling. Like, Tom, what? Oh, fuck you, Henderson. Oh, that sounds like a tough name. But you didn't get, just anything I could think of. Like, what's wrong with Henderson? I don't know. I took a piss in the cemetery. Not on a grave.
I was about to say, Jesus
right
Christ.
next to it, and I'm sure the piss trickled into it. But either way, I was doing whatever I could. And next thing you know, we listen back. One of the questions that gets asked, Marcus asks, he goes, what do you think of Tyler trying to get you guys to do anything? And clear as day, all you can hear is, I hate him. And then we heard that in the cemetery, and I was like, I'm done.
Oh, so you heard this like real time too. It wasn't like play it back.
It wasn't play it back a day or 2 or 6 later. It was like, all right, play it back, see if we got anything. And you could fucking, that's how you know it's real, because it was only me and him out there. Nobody's behind our back going, I'm going to whisper now.
Right.
That was legit. And I was like, whoop.
And it's not like on those ghost hunting shows where it'll be like, they play it back and it's like, and then they're like,
he said Rebecca.
Right?
No,
like he said,
fucking, what the fuck are you talking about?
Don't go there. Like, what the fuck? Where are you hearing this from?
Oh.
Like, clear as day, huh?
So we got shit like that happening.
Mm-hmm.
And at that same year, we had played with a Ouija board in his fucking. They had a room called the Spirit Room at that house. It was one of the 4 bedrooms. There was 3 upstairs, 1 downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And what they had, it was like a white room, and it had just paints all over the place, like different colors, and each color meant something. I'm sure one of you Fruit Loops that carry around agates or whatever else can tell me what the fuck that's all about. But
carry around what?
Those rocks, crystals or whatever the fuck. This one makes me happy. Especially when I'm sad, I just rub it. Like, what the fuck? It's a rock, you dumb fuck. Whatever. It's, to each his own. Some people are stupid and some aren't. So good for you.
That just reminded me. Do you remember when they would sell that like pet rock thing? They'd charge like $5 for you to buy a rock at the store.
That's a genius. That guy who was selling them is a fucking genius. Because he knew that if you watch the last podcast, you'll see how dumb I think everyone is.
Mm-hmm, true.
That opinion hasn't changed in 2 weeks.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, we're playing with this fucking Ouija board, and we're recording it while we're playing with it. And I can't remember what question was asked, but all of a sudden I felt like an electrical shock go through my middle finger on both hands. I was like, did you guys feel that? And then when you play it back, you can actually hear the snap. Like, it was this big snap, and then I said that. I don't know what the fuck that was, but... So like I said, when I was 18, we ended up moving into that house.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, if you were home alone in that house, I had the 1 bedroom downstairs because my parents didn't trust Tori to not fucking sneak out. It's like, okay, well, she's just going to do it anyway because I'm not going to stop her. See ya.
Mm-hmm.
Bye. You want me to lock the door behind you or leave it unlocked? I'm not going to fucking whatever. But if you were home alone, especially if you were downstairs, I mean, you could hear people walking like blatantly up and through the hallways. You could hear doors open and shut.
Mm-hmm.
All sorts of weird shit like that. And I remember, like, for the whole time, I wanted the bedroom that Tori had upstairs because it was bigger. That was the downside, is that I was the oldest, and I had to have the smallest bedroom because it was the only one downstairs. And I was supposed to be responsible or something. I'm sitting there fucking knocking back 25 Vicodin a day. You think I'm going to be responsible? Like, what the fuck? All right. And Tori finally moves out with her boyfriend, and I was like, fucking yes. So I go upstairs, and I'm like, take this room. It's my fucking room now. It's my house. My fucking room. I'm getting jacked.
And just talking to yourself as you're moving your
only
shit.
one
This
home.
is my fucking room.
Yeah. Got that? How many rooms you got, Tyler? Fucking 2 rooms. So I didn't take the other one back. And still, it's just me in the mirror, just fucking getting hyped. But Tori's room was weird. it was kind of like what you were saying. Like if you look out of her bedroom door, it was like kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the bathroom, and that door was like weighted. It was like warped or something, that if you just let go of the door, it would stay open like 3/4 of the way. So if you like, I'm going to shut it but not latch it, it's just going to open back to that.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sitting there, I'm playing WWE 2K14, just fucking killing it, running both controllers because I can't beat the computer, but I can sure as hell beat up an unmanned controller pretty good. But I'm doing that, and I'm just getting into it. And I looked over, and I watched the fucking bathroom door slam shut. I'm the only one home. And I was like, whip! And I fucking plugged the Xbox.
Went back downstairs.
Went back and never stayed in that room again.
Oh my God.
And you always had this eerie, weird feeling that somebody was watching you from her closet.
Oh God, no.
If you go into her closet, it was like a half-assed walk-in closet.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could walk into it, but like, I mean, you weren't going to be able to like spin around or anything. It was just like one of those deep well closets. Mm-hmm. But if you looked on the floor, there was just a random cutout there. And if you open the cutout, it's just a hole. Like, I don't know if somebody was like hiding shit there at one point in time. That's or what, freaky. But there's nothing in there.
I would have looked. Oh, you did look.
I looked in there. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in there, but yeah, it was fucked up. But you know, you'd hear shit all the time in that house. I know going downstairs too. There was a basement, and then after the basement, there was another basement. And in that second basement, it was like all the pumps and everything else to control all the sprinkler systems and everything else in the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
And I just, even going downstairs to do laundry, you'd just be like damn near shitting your pants. Like you could feel the temperature drop. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's just, you always felt like somebody was like around the corner peeking at you or something.
Yeah, I had a basement like that. Fucking hate that.
There was many times too that there was the stairwell, and then if you're in the living room, you can't see the stairs because like the back wall of the living room is the stairs. Mm-hmm. But my parents had a fucking mirror set up so that if you looked like this into the mirror, you could see the stairs. Mm-hmm. Countless times I saw fucking shadows walking back up the stairs or walking down them, and you'd like look again, and you'd be like, just catch like a fucking, you know, pair of legs going up. You'd be the only one home. Like I said, the place was haunted as shit. And there was times that we went outside and took pictures and stuff with a camera, and you'd get those fucking orbs, which I still am not convinced that they're not bugs.
Yeah, but orbs are definitely like iffy for me.
Yeah, I still think they're bugs, but I mean, I've shown people the pictures like, there's like 17 spirits in this picture. Yeah, right. Or fucking mosquitoes. But
that's definitely like some of the least like heavy evidence for my opinion, like EVPs and like actual videos of like the shadows and stuff. I take more
like
serious.
The shadows or like the shadows?
Both.
I have to try and make this one funny.
But yeah, I don't know. Orbs, it could be so much shit that it's kind of like, I don't know if I believe that one.
I'm on the fence with orbs. Mm-hmm. I'm not for sure. Mm-hmm. So start telling your mom's story next. I'm going to go piss because it's either that or I'm going to piss my pants. I've heard the story before. It's good. Let's keep it going.
All right. Well, before we get into our story about like the ghosts that Tyler's dealt with for like we think years now, my mom had a ghost story from her childhood. So when she was a little girl, this is just like kind of going into the next ghost story. She told me about how she would see an old man in her room, like she described him basically as Abe Lincoln because this was a really old house. And she'd see him like in the corner of her room, like toward the end of her bed, like, and he had a top hat and like old timey clothes. That's why she referred to him as that. So yeah, that was like her ghost experience for that. And I remember she told me about how they had a fire in that house and like the furnace set on fire or something. Like the house wasn't totally destroyed or anything, I don't think, but like I remember hearing that story and being like, that's kind of sketchy. Like maybe the ghost did it. Ooh. But I'm not for sure on that. So anyway, after that house, my grandpa decided he's going to make them their own house. So I remember my mom prefacing that story with the fact that apparently while they were like excavating the place where the new house was going to be, he found either some bones or he found like an old headstone from like a makeshift cemetery they had there. And he just disregarded it because my grandpa is like a badass German man. So like he was like, I'm not fucking scared of this. Floop, just like threw that shit aside and kept, building. So anyway, skipping ahead, they were done building the house. And my mom's older sisters got first dibs, obviously. The older siblings choose first what rooms they wanted.
That's bullshit. Continue.
I mean, I got dibs for mine just because I was the only girl. So, like, that was my thing. Usually I chose one of the bigger rooms just because I had more shit. But anyway.
Is that why, Tori? Is that why?
But anyway, so in her family, the oldest chose their rooms first. And so her older sister, Lisa, chose that room that in particular we're going to be talking about. So fast forward, Lisa graduates, moves out of the house. So my mom moves down to that room. And she told me about a story about how every night after she went to bed, she would hear the window like slowly opening. And then she would feel hands grabbing her ankles and trying to literally like yank her violently out of the bed. And she said she remembers just grabbing onto the freaking headstand of her bed that she had and just holding on for dear fucking life. And this was like a nightly thing. And this happened to the point where my mom just like kind of thought it was nightmares that she had every night, though. That should be your hint that that's not a nightmare if you're having the same dream every night. But anyway, she just kind of brushed it off. And fast forward to when they're all adults. This was like a family get together we had. She was telling that story and my aunt looked at her and her face was just white as like a sheet. And she's like, wait, you had that happen to you too? And apparently, so the same exact thing was happening to my aunt before my mom moved into the room. So like, yeah, I don't know if it was from that headstone or whatever, or if that ghost from their house before had followed them there or what, but that was her ghost story.
Yeah, it's a fucking good one.
So I'm like, Mom, that doesn't sound like a fucking ghost. That sounds like a demon, like something trying to yank you out of your bed. Yeah,
no, it does.
Good God.
Or somebody just, fucking bored, been dead for 80 years. It's fucked with people. I know that's what I do. But it'd take me like 8 minutes and I'd be like, all right, who am I fucking with? All right, so when we moved out of the cemetery house, I lived a couple places and nothing happened. And then we moved to the house in Menominee, and not too much happened there either. But I just thought I should note that like this house that we did have used to be like for mentally unstable or whatever people. Like they can count to 7, but after that it's like 12.
Mentally disabled people?
Sure. And my room had a double window or whatever, where if I look through it, I can just see me. But if you're on the outside looking in, you can see through the room. And it was just a window like this big on the door. Oh, so is it like a
two-way mirror type thing?
Two-way mirror, yeah, on the door. That's all I got, but it was fucking, yeah.
Oh, I thought
it was just eerie. It was just eerie. But no,
I was waiting for this. I'm like, I haven't heard this one yet. Getting me all excited.
After that, I moved in with Uncle Matt because my dad's like, yep, we're moving. And I was like, what? He's like, yep, moving in with the old lady. I was like, she lives in a garage.
Hmm.
We have a house. He's like, yeah.
Not anymore.
You might want to start finding some roommates or the fuck out. I was like, thanks for the fucking 2-week warning, bud. But best thing that ever happened to me. But I was like, had nowhere to go, and Uncle Matt, who just lives in the town over, which is why we met, and why I fucking put a baby up in there, all the way up in there, and then you had the baby, and now she's up there, like right there,
passed out.
And so as soon as I moved in with Matt, shit started happening again. Matt lives in a junkyard. Pretty similar to the fucking cemetery, where it's like a pretty unconventional place to live. But he lives in a junkyard where like there's the house, dead center, and then wrapped all the way around it for fucking ever is just destroyed cars for parts, fucking you name it. And this house is just as old, or his house is got to be older than the house that we're in right now. And I remember just little shit would happen at first. He had a wall that was just a mirror, like the whole wall is a mirror. You know that what used to be our gym there, that whole wall is a fucking mirror. And you know, every once in a while I'd see like something like almost like run past it, and I'd look over like, what the fuck? You know, it must be nothing. And I'd run back, be like, what? And I still don't think anything of it. And Matt and his kids would go and visit my grandma, who lives in Eau Claire. It's like a 2-hour drive, hour and a half from there, probably. Like, Jesus, it was like every other weekend for months on end. Like, they just go, we're going to go to stay at grandma's and hang out, you know, just so the kids can see grandma. He can see his mom, everything else. I would stay there, home alone, and all of a sudden that shit starts happening again, where you're hearing doors shut, open and shut, cupboard doors open and shut. I had the only bedroom upstairs. They all stayed downstairs. And one specific night, they went to go stay at my grandma's, and I hear like a little girl. Matt has at the time she was 3 going on 4, little girl. And I hear a little girl like giggling and talking downstairs. And I'm like, what the hell? And I messaged Matt because I'm like in bed, my door's open and everything. I'm like, I thought you guys were staying at grandma's. And he immediately snaps me a picture back of him on grandma's couch. He's like, we are. And I was like, what the fuck? And I shut my door and I pissed in empty bottles the whole rest of the night. I did not leave that fucking room again. And then it was like, I don't know, a few weeks or so after that me and Matt are home alone, just us, no kids. And I see something fucking slowly move behind me, like just short. And I was like, what the fuck? And he goes, was it the little girl? I had not brought that up to Matt. I had never brought anything up about me seeing anything or hearing anything. And that's when I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? He goes, yeah, there's a little girl that lives here. Ghost or something, but she's always fucking shutting and banging doors and whatever else. She don't bother nothing. Like, been living here for like 5 months, dickhead.
You didn't give me a warning.
Yeah, I'm sitting here having fucking panic attacks, but it's just so fucked up that I heard it and then I saw it, and then he immediately knows what I'm talking about and starts filling in like the blanks of the story that I'm telling him.
Should just have it in the listing of the house under amenities, residual ghosts.
Yeah, included. She's cool.
For free.
She's all right. But
here rent free.
Yeah, and then there was the night that you stayed the night. It was like the first night we were just getting together. And why don't you tell that one then? Because I'm not going to end the thing tonight. You're ending it.
Was it still the same? Was this the same night where I saw the shadow too?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
no, you had stayed there one other night. This is the second time that we'd stayed the night there.
Okay. Well, the first night,
we were already moved out. We were just staying the night there, weren't we?
Yeah. So the first night I stayed there, his room's upstairs, like he'd said, and the power went out of nowhere.
Yep.
So I remember he went downstairs to go flip the switch or whatever the hell he needed to do.
That house is so old, you had to change a fuse.
Oh, God.
There is no fucking circuit breaker.
Gotcha. Okay, so anyway, so he's down there trying to get the power back on. I'm sitting in his room in the pitch black, like just using my phone as a flashlight so it wasn't so dark in there. And I'm just waiting, like listening to him talk to Matt downstairs. And then I see, because there's a light from the crack of the door from downstairs. So I'm watching the light, like waiting for Tyler to come back upstairs. And I just see like a shadow slowly cross like over. And so it like blocks out the light for a second. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, Tyler. And he's like not hearing me. So I'm like, what the fuck? So he like came upstairs after the lights came back on. And I told him, and yeah, no one was remotely near the door.
No.
And it wasn't like a shadow from downstairs, like the angle of where his room is. Like it had to be something that crossed right in front of the door. So that was kind of freaky. And then the second night we stayed there.
And this is months later.
Mm-hmm, months later.
Oh.
We were just watching Netflix on like your iPad or something or phone. So there's like no light in the room besides that. And he had a painting leaning against the wall on top of your like dresser thing.
Yeah.
And
it was leaning like this, and then the wall is like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's
and so anyway, so we're just watching the whatever we had on, and out of the corner of my eye, I like look over at the painting, and it just flips right over. Like not slowly either. Yeah, just freaking bloop, like just falls right over. And oh my God, I nearly jumped out of my skin. I was so scared. And Tyler was like dozing off when this happened too. And so I was like, you fucking bitch. You better not fall asleep before I do. You better not do it. Because I live for the spooky shit. But when it happens to me, it's still scary. So I'm like, no, don't fall asleep before me.
It was one of those tired where I was like, well, if I die, I die.
Right.
Yeah. And she wasn't having it every now and then. I'd be getting like,
yeah, shaking awake. Like, no.
Are you still awake? Like loud. Like, yeah, no. Like, Jesus Christ.
If you weren't, you are now. Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
the apartment.
All that led up to the apartment stuff that we had led with in the whole podcast here.
I do have a spooky story before you moved in. Excuse me. So Marcus had this was when he was one-ish. He had a bathtub. It's one of those baby baths that you put in the bathtub so they're not able to move around or slip or fall under the water or anything. So I had that hanging in the shower, on a little, because they had a hook for some reason in the shower on the far wall. And so I would hang that up to have it dry after every time I'd give him a bath. And I remember one night, this was around dinner time. So obviously it's just me and Marcus because we were the only two that lived there. And I was just listening to some music, just jamming out, doing some dishes, singing along to Disturbed, just jamming out. Marcus is standing behind me because he's always got to be right by me, especially at that time. Whenever I was in the kitchen, he was in there. And all of a sudden I hear, do, in the fucking bathroom. And I was like, I remember, even it was this day, but this is 2 years ago. I froze halfway through washing the dish that I had. And I was like, what the fuck? And I turned around, Marcus is behind me, and I'm like, what just happened? So I wiped my hands off, go into the bathroom, and the noise I'd heard was that little bathtub falling into the tub. And I'm like, what the hell? So I put it back on there, and I shake it a little bit to check to see if maybe it was just not fully on the hook, but it was. And I was like, what the hell? And this happened twice after that too. So it wasn't a daily thing. So I definitely don't think it was it was just on the hook wrong or something and it slid off. Or I know the neighbor's bathroom, the people right above me, their bathroom was above my bathroom. So I thought
I'm
maybe
aware
it
of
was,
that. I used to hear those motherfuckers talking, especially in the morning.
You could sometimes smell like their poop and stuff, because I'd like go to the bathroom, just pee, and I'd be like, why does it smell like shit in here? Like, but anyway, so at first I thought, well, maybe it's just like Robert walking around.
Pretty
like,
sure he had a greasy ass.
Yeah, but he was nice. But anyway, I thought maybe it was just from them walking around and like shaking the wall, you know, from them walking. But no, it would have happened way more often if it was from that. So that definitely freaked me out.
I did just remember one more thing that happened at an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that one time that it was in the midst of all this ghost shit happening. Didn't your chimes like fucking start going off once in the living room too?
Yeah.
Yeah. But also we were in bed, me, you, and then Marcus was in bed with us.
Oh God, yeah. This shit scared me so much.
All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, Marcus just like stands up on the bed and looks like he's in a fucking trance.
Yeah.
And
he was just staring at the window, and the blinds were closed.
Blinds were closed. You couldn't see out them.
Mm-hmm.
There was no light coming in them because there was like no light in the back anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But like he just fucking, and Cass is like, Tyler, what is he doing? I was like, Marcus. And he shake him a little bit, and he just was still like staring at the one spot, and then Cass starts going,
Okay, let's just explain this. Okay, so like I'm used to being haunted because I've had ghost stories all my life, obviously, but for some reason this night was just different, and like I have an anxiety disorder and stuff that I take pills for and everything, and for some reason like that just fucking scared the shit out of me, because I remember like this feeling of dread, you know, the feeling of dread that comes over you sometimes, like you can't control it, but you just know something's not right.
Yeah.
And so that overcame me, and I remember I was just like frozen, like in fear. I couldn't move at all, and I just remember like hyperventilating, and I was like shaking a little bit, and I just started crying, and like I couldn't stop myself, and it was just scary as hell. And
the worst part is
like it.
I'm fucking getting anxiety because she's making what I thought was like he's way overtired or something, maybe just trying to like logically put it in my brain. And then she's having this type of reaction to it where I'm like, maybe we're all going to die. And I'm the guy, so I'm supposed to be like, psst. But really on the inside, like my butthole tightened, like really tight. And I was like, okay, just keep it together.
Yeah, no, I did not brush that shit off at all. I thought it was a ghost right away because Marcus had seen stuff before, because, you know, they say little kids and animals see that type of shit. And I remember like before you moved in, we used to sleep on the couch a lot. And sometimes if he'd be staying up too late, I'd turn the TV off so it'd be pitch black in the living room. And he'd just be staring like up above us and just like smile and like laughing and stuff. And I'm like, what the hell are you laughing at?
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I'm not messing with that shit.
All right. I got the one to close it out now, though.
Okay, wait. I have one more apartment one, though.
Oh, you have one more apartment one? Okay. Knock it out.
Because I think you weren't home, and it was just me and Marcus in the apartment. And I heard like, can't remember the bedroom. I think it was, I heard someone talking in the hallway, and I thought you were home. Do you remember that? I think I told you about that.
I don't remember. It sounds familiar, but like I don't remember the story word for word.
Yeah, because I think I heard someone talking, or like the door open or something like that. And I was like, Tyler, and like nothing. So I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, and there was like the time where our circuit breaker door was wide open. The bathroom door was locked with no one in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of shit happened in that apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, glad we met each other.
And it wasn't a bathroom door with like the lock that you could just like turn it and then you could lock it behind you even though no one's in it. It's like the one where you have to close the door from the inside and then like twist it, you know?
Yeah, push
it
the
in
whole
turn.
door handle in and then twist.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like a mistake.
The last one I got happened here.
Mm-hmm.
And me and you both heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Was Cece born yet? Yeah, she was. This was only like a few weeks ago.
Well, you gotta tell the basement one too.
Oh, I was in the basement doing laundry, and I thought like maybe Marcus was talking or something. But I heard a little kid like talking, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I just like hurried up and grabbed the clothes and put them in the basket, and like ran upstairs. And what was he sleeping?
It was either that or I think he was like sitting there watching his tablet.
Yeah, quiet.
And I was on my phone just scrolling through, like not looking at videos or anything, just checking social media.
I couldn't make out what it was said, but it sounded like a kid talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then, a couple weeks ago, Marcus is in his room, no TV on, doesn't have his tablet, nothing. And we hear him talking.
Mm-hmm. Which he does a lot, so.
To no one, just to hear himself talk. But he's talking and laughing. And then we heard a fucking grown-ass man's voice talk back to him. And he keeps talking about somebody named Jay in here.
Yeah. And it's freaky because that was not a voice Marcus could make on his own. No. That's for sure.
There's no fucking way. It was a deep voice. And I looked at you, I was like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And I got up and I went into the bedroom. We both blatantly heard it. He was talking to somebody. Mm-hmm. And then ever since then, he's been talking about ghost in his room.
And monsters in his closet and stuff like that.
And then he talks about Jay. He's like, Jay, is Jay in there? Looking for Jay. Mm-hmm. Jay, where are you? He's walking around. It's like,
I should really look up the property records and see if I can figure out who owned this house in the past. And
watch it be some motherfucker named Jay. I'm gonna be pretty pissed off.
Right. And even this happens more frequently. I'll be in the bathroom in the middle of the night because I wake up 5 times anyway because I have a sleep disorder. But I'll have to wake up to go pee, and I'll go in the bathroom and it sounds like someone is walking because our bathroom, you go in, there's a little hallway, there's a shower there, and then you round the corner and there's the toilet. So anyway, I'll be sitting on the toilet and I'll hear what sounds like someone either walking right outside the door or in the bathroom by the shower, and no one's awake, no one's walking around, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah. So I get it.
It's freaking. And you also heard someone running, right?
Out
so
here.
We were in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, we were in bed, and I heard somebody running heavy footsteps from here to our room, and I was like.
And we left the door open, and keep in mind, I sleep closest to the door. So this freaked me out when Tyler said this.
Probably shouldn't, but God forbid if you don't feel the fucking fan. Mm-hmm. Instead, I'm supposed to sweat all night. But, I heard the running, and I was like, yes, what the fuck was that? And I, leaned up and looked around and stuff. Nothing. Nobody, nothing. I thought maybe, Marcus woke up in his bedroom or whatever and had a nightmare and came running to our room, but no.
No, this night he didn't end up coming to our room, but that was a solid
hours later.
Yeah, that was a long time after you'd heard that running. And if it was him awake, trust me, he would have been in our room right away because he does not like sleeping by himself. He gets scared. Even if we put him in his room after he falls asleep, if he wakes up, he's having a meltdown, screaming and crying and running out of his room. So he comes to our room immediately when he's awake. So
to close out, if any of the fans out there want to email us ideas, but I'm sick of it. I don't like it. So ideas. I've heard burning sage and blah blah blah, but that shit don't work. It's a bunch of horse shit. So. They're not really bothering us, I guess, but the fact that it's talking to my kid, I'm not really fond of.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of eerie with that.
But yeah, so we just had our longest episode ever.
Yeah,
talking about ghosts and shit.
Spooky
so look at that.
Spooktober almost.
Hope you guys like it. If you don't, go fuck yourself, and I don't care anyway.
All right, so follow us on Twitter at How Are We Parents.
And also on Instagram at How Are We Parents. And
email us at howareweparentsp@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you could, finger me third knuckle deep. Love you guys.